As students, you've probably come across classes that were a breeze to get through, while others made you feel like you had to go above and beyond just to keep your head above water. When we come across classes that are really challenging, we often try to answer the question, where am I going wrong? By blaming our performance on bad teaching or beating ourselves up by saying we aren't smart enough. Though it might be easier to blame the things you cannot change and just move on with your life, this never solves the problem and leaves you stuck in the same place making the same mistakes. Instead of submitting yourself to an endless cycle, consider the differences between the best and worst classes you've had. Though there's probably a whole list of things you can think of, they all boil down to one thing: motivation. So, rather than asking, where am I going wrong, consider instead, what motivates me to perform? Before we can determine how to be motivated or what makes us motivated, it's important to understand what motivation actually is. To help with this, one prominent theory of motivation, known as the self-determination theory, explains motivation in two forms: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation refers to a natural inborn form of motivation, and when intrinsic motivation is experienced, you do things you want to do simply for the sake of doing them. For example, when you think of your favorite hobbies or favorite activities, you don't do them because someone told you to, or because you feel like you have to. You do them because you enjoy it. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation is a form of motivation that stems from a source outside of you. In other words, you don't do these things entirely by your own interest in doing them. Instead, it takes some kind of reward to motivate your performance. School is a good example of this, as students tend to work towards achieving a good grade in their classes as opposed to learning the material for fun alone. The difference is that the work is required of you if your goal is to pass or to get good grades.